Do you know of all these civilization games that you get hold of one civilization and try to make them thrive and make them the most successful against all others? Have you ever thought of what would happen if the world that the civilizations existed would actually die? Would they survive? Would they escape their dying planet? This is Last Days of Athobrae. What's up, meeples? This is Helena from Helena Plays Games, and today we're going to be taking a look at Last Days of Athobrae by More Games. This is a competitive, strategic board game for 2 to 5 players that takes around 2 to 4 hours to play. In this game, players take the role of one of the civilizations that live on Athobrae, and they try to build the spaceship in order to survive their dying planet. Let's take a look at the components of the game, and let's discuss the gameplay, and we'll come back for the final thoughts. In this game, you will get several different tiles, player boards, different types of cards, also several different tokens, different resources, and of course, dice. Each of the players can take up to 3 actions during their turn. They can either move their scouts, search with their scouts for a resource, perform research and development, build technology or blueprint cards, recruit more scouts, attack their opponents, trade with friendly scouts, perform their special ability, regroup, or fuel their IQV. Once all players has taken all their 3 actions, then the first player performs the Doom phase. During the Doom phase, you reveal and flip locations, which may result even to locations being removed from the planet as a planet blows up. And you also reveal and resolve the world events. The goal of the game is to be the first one who is going to build their spaceship and escape from Athobrae before it blows up. If you're the first player to do that, then you win the game. However, the player may end with the planet blown up where nobody wins the game. This is it, everybody. This is Last Days of Athobrae by More Games. Let's discuss a bit about the element of randomness in the game, because there are a few random things that happen in every game that spice it up and that make every game that you play unique. So the first thing is that the setup is random in every game. This means that the planet is going to be different in every time that you play. Random resources are going to be put in several locations, so this makes it interesting every time that you play. Another interesting element is the world event effects, which take place in the Doom phase of the game. Now, these can be either very challenging and make the game very tough for you, or you can actually use them to your benefit and take the best out of them. These are random every time, and they make the game different and interesting every time that you play. Apart from these two things, there is also dice rolling involved in the game. For example, in order to gather resources, you need to roll a die and you succeed only on a 5 or a 6, which is very tough to succeed. So if you are not a fan of randomness overall, then there are certain aspects of the game that you might not like. Another important aspect is that each of the civilizations in the game plays quite differently. So you can either choose a civilization every time that you play that actually fits your playstyle and stick with them, or you can choose a different one every time in order to have a totally unique experience. You have seen from the actions of the game that you can attack other players. However, the game kind of gives you the option to not do that. So you can not attack other players and just deal with your own faction, do your own thing, and eventually at some point maybe win the game as well. However, you might attack other players, and then you might be so preoccupied with doing that and with driving other players back that you might not pay attention that the game continues to play itself. This means that Athobrae will continue to diminish, and after 2 hours of play you might end up with the planet blowing up and nobody wins the game. Overall, Last Days of Athobrae is a competitive game, a strategic game that gives you a 4X feel. Mix it up with different strategies like the dice rolling, like the element that the planet falls apart that we've seen in other games. It is not an overly complex game. I do not know if this comes across through the video, but it is not an overly complex game, as there are specific things that you're going to be doing each round, and the summary of what the player actions are is very, very handy. If you enjoy games with a 4X feeling where lots of tactics and randomness is involved, then definitely this is something that you're going to enjoy. This is it, everybody. This was Last Days of Athobrae by More Games. The game is currently on Kickstarter, and you can find the link in the description below. Make sure to hit the like button if you liked this video and subscribe to the Board Game Revolution channel. And if you like me, then make sure to follow me on my social media. Until next time.